Everyone went silent when the cleaner dropped her mop that day. You could have heard a pin drop in that classroom. Because what she said next. Even the principal froze. No one saw it coming, not from the woman everyone used to laugh at. In Royal Crest Secondary School, there was one person everyone seemed to overlook. Mama Esther, the school cleaner. Every morning before the first bell, you'd find her pushing a squeaky mop bucket down the hallway. Her old slippers flapping softly against the tiles. Her uniform was always neat but faded. Washed so many times that the school's logo on her chest had nearly disappeared. She never complained. Even when some students accidentally spilled drinks just to watch her clean it up. She'd just smile faintly, bend her knees slowly, and whisper to herself, "Work is work. One day, God will wipe my tears." But in that school, kindness was rare. The students loved to show off flashy backpacks, shiny shoes, and expensive perfumes. And when Mama Esther walked by, they'd cover their noses and giggle behind her back. "Oh, can't she buy another uniform?" One girl would sneer. "See her slippers. She's been wearing them since my JSS 1. Another would laugh. Even some teachers treated her like air. Backing orders at her to clean classrooms faster. Or scolding her for entering during lessons. Only a few truly noticed her. Mostly quiet students, or the ones who had known what it meant to struggle. But for the popular kids, Mama Esther was nothing more than a background shadow. And among them, the loudest of all was Tenny. The class queen who believed the world revolved around her. Tenny came from a wealthy home. Her father was a big businessman. She never repeated clothes. Never missed a manicure. And loved attention more than grades. She had a clique girls who laughed when she laughed. Rolled their eyes when she did. And joined her every time she mocked someone. So when Tenny decided Mama Esther was the school's comic relief, everyone joined in. Sometimes, they'd block the hallway with their bags, forcing Mama Esther to go around them. Other times, they'd make fake coughing sounds when she passed. And yet every single time, Mama Esther would just smile, bow her head a little, and say softly, "Good morning, my children." But that humility only made them mock her more. To them, she was invisible. Nobody. Someone who didn't belong in their classy world. Until one morning. One ordinary morning that changed everything. Because that was the day they realized. The woman they had laughed at wasn't who they thought she was. And when the truth came out, even Tenny, the proudest girl in school, couldn't look Mama Esther in the eye again. That morning started like any other. The students of SS2A were restless, chatting, laughing, tossing paper balls across the class. It was Friday, and everyone was in a good mood. Tenny sat in front, reapplying lip gloss, while her friends Anita and Kemi scrolled through their phones, giggling at TikTok videos. The only sound louder than their laughter was the dragging of Mama Esther's mop bucket outside the door. "Not this woman again," Tenny groaned. "She's always disturbing my morning vibes." Her friends laughed. Anita whispered, "Watch this," and tossed an empty juice pack toward the door. It hit the floor just as Mama Esther entered. The poor woman blinked. She looked at the pack, then at the girls. "Who did this?" she asked softly. No one answered. Instead, the class erupted in quiet laughter. Mama Esther sighed and bent slowly, her knees creaking as she picked up the pack and dropped it in her bucket. "Don't worry," she murmured. "One day, you children will understand." Tenny rolled her eyes. "Understand what?" "That mopping floor is a talent," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. The class burst into laughter. Even the quiet ones tried not to smile. But as Mama Esther turned to leave, Something fell from her pocket. A small photo frame, wrapped in an old handkerchief. It hit the ground, and the glass cracked slightly. Everyone saw it. Tenny, ever curious, stepped forward and picked it up before the cleaner could reach it. "What's this?" she asked, unwrapping the cloth. It was a picture of a young woman in a graduation gown, holding a medal, standing beside a man in a suit who looked like her father. The resemblance was striking. It was clearly Mama Esther in her younger days. The entire class gasped. "Wait. This is you?" Tenny asked in disbelief, holding up the photo. Mama Esther froze, her eyes darting nervously from face to face. "Yes," she said quietly. "That was me. Many years ago." For a moment, the laughter stopped. A heavy silence filled the room. The same woman they mocked every day had once looked like a university graduate, confident, smart, full of life. But before anyone could ask more, a voice came from the doorway. "Mr. Daniel, their class teacher. What's going on here?" he asked sharply. Tenny quickly dropped the photo and pretended to look innocent. "Nothing, sir," she said. "We were just helping her pick something up." But Mr. Daniel's eyes had already fallen on the photo frame. He bent, picked it up gently, and sighed deeply. Then he looked at Mama Esther. And for the first time, the class noticed respect in his eyes. "Madam," he said softly, "I didn't know you kept this photo." Mama Esther smiled sadly. "It reminds me of who I used to be," she replied. Now the whole class was confused. Who she used to be? What did that mean? And that was when Mr. Daniel turned to the students and said, "Maybe it's time you all learn the truth about Mama Esther." The classroom went quiet. You could feel the tension in the air. Every student waiting for Mr. Daniel to speak. He took a deep breath, held up the cracked photo, and said, "Students, this woman you all laugh at was once one of the brightest students in this country." Gasps filled the room. Mr. Daniel continued. "She graduated top of her class from the University of Lagos. Studied accounting, won scholarships. Even represented Nigeria in a youth innovation competition." All eyes turned to Mama Esther. The same woman who mocked their flaws had once been a top student. Tenna's lips parted slightly, her eyes wide with disbelief. "But sir, how?" she stammered. "How did she end up here?" Mama Esther took a shaky breath. Her eyes glistened, but her voice was calm. "My dear," she began, "life doesn't always go the way we plan." She looked around the room, at the faces that once mocked her. "I had dreams," she said softly. "I had a good job, a loving husband, and a daughter I adored. But one night, my husband died in a road accident. I lost everything trying to care for my child alone. Bills piled up. And before I knew it, I couldn't afford the things I once had." Her voice broke slightly. "I came to this school to clean. Not because I'm uneducated, but because I needed to survive." Silence. Heavy. Guilt-filled. Even the air in the room felt thick. She smiled faintly. A sad but peaceful smile. "But I never allowed shame to stop me. Work is work. And no matter how small, it deserves respect." Tenny lowered her eyes. Her friends exchanged uneasy glances. For the first time, they saw Mama Esther not as a cleaner, but as a woman who had faced storms and still stood tall. Mr. Daniel nodded slowly. "You see, children," he said, "true class isn't about clothes or perfume. It's about humility and how you treat people." Mama Esther picked up her mop quietly. But as she turned to leave, Tenna's voice stopped her. "Mama Esther," she said softly, I'm sorry." The whole class looked at her. "Tenny, The proud one, apologizing. She walked forward, tears gathering in her eyes. I didn't know, she whispered. We didn't know. Mama Esther placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. You do now, she said with a smile. And that's what matters. From that day, things changed. No one mocked her again. Students greeted her with respect. Even teachers began to pause and thank her. And every time Mama Esther walked down the hallway, she didn't just carry her mop. She carried her story. A reminder that behind every humble face, there's a life, a struggle, and a strength we may never understand. Because sometimes, the people we laugh at are the ones who've seen more life than we ever will.